So then next, we're going to go right into Atlanta. Uh, with Atlanta, I have them taking Penny Sewell at offensive tackle. I think that O-line is pretty trash. The only name I know off of the top of my head is Jake Matthews. And there's talks of quarterback here. There's talks of a lot of players here, as we'll get into. Um, but I think Sewell is just like the safest pick for them to do, and it's going to be a long-term player that they can have as a starter.
Right. So going into last season, I did some research before this and saw that Atlanta was sacked the 22nd uh, most times in the league. So it was on average 2.6 times a game, which is only half a sack below Houston at 31. So clearly the O line has not been a strength the whole time. So I'm also going to go with Penny Sewell with Adam here. But I do respect any other pick because as soon as I saw the Falcons, I kind of just thought anything because the Falcons need anything, to be honest.
Now, this might be a little controversial because we did set up this mock draft to be what we personally thought were the biggest needs for each team. I wrote defense in general, so if I were the Falcons at pick 4, I would pick J.C. Horn, cornerback. Again, not going to be popular. He's not the fourth best player in the draft. But in terms of need, I believe that defense at any level needs some type of upgrade. O-line is very a solid option. I agree with you there. They could even look quarterback if they feel that Matt Ryan is a year or two left from being bad. But I just like J.C. Horn, probably best corner in the draft, and it's an immediate upgrade to that defense. We'll go right to pick 5 then with the Cincinnati Bengals. And I think we all have O-line here, but we're all a little different. So I have Penei Sewell, who is my favorite O-lineman. I think it's your guys' as well. Very solid tackle. He'll come in, be an immediate starter. I believe right tackle would be his main position. And they'll have, is it Riley Reef? He'll be the swing tackle for them. Maybe move one to guard. Solid plug and play. Good pick for Cincinnati. I don't think wide receiver is the right choice here. If you want Burrow to tear his other ACL, go wide receiver. But if not, Penei Sewell or Rashawn Slater is the pick.
Right. So me and Adam both happen to have Slater here. We've been saying it all last year. Ever since game 1, I remember me and Richie were talking about Joe Burrow after game 1 and saying just how under pressure he was the entire time. And that didn't stop throughout the entire season, leading to the ACL tear. And I think that just kind of signified they are going to get an O-lineman. There's no way they pass up on this. So Rashawn Slater and Penei Sewell if he's on the board.
Exactly. Yeah, Slater's there because he's the next best tackle behind Sewell. I don't know if you've seen that picture with Joe Burrow in the new uniforms, but you can see that scar on his knee, man. It's like solid 8 inches long. It is huge. They need to get him some help. And I do believe Joe Burrow is the quarterback for the Bengals. Like, I think he's that good. I think he will be. He just needs some O-line help like every quarterback in the league.
Right.
So then we'll kick it off to where I believe we all have different players across the board at pick number 6 for Miami. For me, I have Kyle Pitts. I think they're just going to give Tua an absolute monster in Kyle Pitts, someone who can line up anywhere across the field. I know they need offensive line help, they need defensive help, but I think in someone in Kyle Pitts, it's someone you don't pass up in at sick. There's not really any injury concern. He is just an absolute freak of nature. And being able to line up at tight end with Mike Gesicki, running 2 tight end sets is going to be a problem for defense, especially if you have 2 capable wide receivers out there, which they can get later in the draft.
Right. So for my pick number 6, I went with Jalen Phillips. I was a little torn here between O-line and D-line, but just seeing the draft capital that would need to be invested for an O-lineman, either Miami should trade back to get one. I don't think they should really take a reach here on someone like Elijah Vera Tucker or Christian Darrisaw. I think they should stick with the defensive side of the ball. A lot of people I know have them going with receivers. I do think Will Fuller and Devontae Parker are just fine. So yeah, Jalen Phillips. I think he's the most raw edge player in the draft right now. And if you're concerned about injuries, then maybe Kawhi Paye. Can't really pronounce that, but
yeah, I mean, Phillips is probably the best defensive edge in the draft, maybe even the best defensive player in the draft. The problem with Miami is Fuller's on a 1-year deal. Preston Parker, I don't think he's played a full season yet, Preston Parker. That's the Giants guy.
Preston
Preston,
Williams.
Preston
Yeah.
Williams. Thank you. Yeah. And then they have Parker. I just combined them. That's cool. Then they have Parker also. Big, tall receiver. I almost said big threat. So I have Jalen Waddle here for the sole reason that he played with Tua. He's a separator. Tua likes his route runners, likes to throw to receivers that are open, not to high point balls like to Parker or Williams. Pitts is solid, but my only problem with Pitts is, are you going to line him up at tight end or are you going to line him up at wide receiver? If it's tight end, he has to learn all the routes of a wide receiver, plus tight end blocking, off tackle, in the slot, outside. That's why for the majority of tight ends that come out of the draft, it's a slow process to get them up to speed because it's so much they have to learn and retain. If you put him out at wide out, is he just going to be Jamar Chase? So, I guess we'll see what happens. We'll see what Miami does at pick 6, but I have Jalen Waddle.